Hey guys, I'm JanetOnOccasion, and today we're playing the Total War Warhammer II Battle Replay. This one was from a finals in one of my son's recent tournaments. It is Felkon versus Shidoku, both very good players, and they're both playing Norsca. Yep, absolutely insane. So here you can see Felkon actually has Wulfric the Wanderer. He has a Metal Sorcerer. Well, Metal Shaman, I suppose. Also, he's got some Marauders in the front line. A ton of Skin Wolves here. Just an abysmal amount, which is a great idea because they're cheaper than a lot of the other large units, but large units are key in this, well, in this faction, right? So you may as well go with anti-large units. So also he's got a ton of Marauder Horsemen. If he can micro these well, they will get great value against anything large. And of course, Wulfric is such a great anti-infantry unit with huge amounts of health. It's only really the big stuff that will be able to pin him down and really hurt him and get the damage in, or other horsemen. So all these guys should be able to screen anything from Wulfric, and Wulfric can obviously catch up to any of the infantry. So this is actually really nice synergy. He's also got a couple more Marauders in the back. So just a few Marauders just to get in the way and be a nuisance. He also has a Frostworm, which, you know, big armor piercing, can fly about. Those breath attacks will certainly help. And it's another terror-causing unit. So really tiny army, but, well, I say tiny, they're all quite big. But, yeah, really interesting, because there is synergy here, for sure. But it doesn't look it. This does not look like a balanced army, but somehow it is. So over here, you can see there's Soul Crusher. That's right, he's brought his own one, and they have some extra abilities. So he can actually enrage for mad damage resistance. But there's not much infantry for him to kill. But there's not much infantry for either of them to kill, really. They've gone the same with just a bunch of Marauders and a Frostworm. And again, a few Skin Wolves, some Marauder Horsemen. But he's gone with some Norscan Warhounds here, and yeah, just Norscan Warhounds, which will help chase down any of the other cavalry, which is nice. Oh, also some more horsemen over there. So yeah, slightly more infantry on this side. And actually, Norscan Warhounds do count as infantry. Technically, they are small models, so anti-infantry bonuses do apply. And again, a Sorcerer of Death, so metal on one side, death on the other, a mammoth on either side. And here you can see there is actually Throg. Throg will do very well against a ton of the units he's going to be up against, but they will be good against him too. He doesn't have much armor, so things like Skin Wolves will be able to get some good damage on him. But obviously, he's an absolute nightmare, and he regenerates. It's scary. So, Shidoku Felkon moving up. This is a nuts fight. This is crazy. He spelled out W, which I'm assuming is for win. I'm assuming that's what he's trying to communicate to the eyes in the sky, JanetOnOccasion here. So anyway, okay, what is going to happen first? Yep, Marauder Horsemen. They're trying to cancel each other out by the looks of it, but Felkon has more here that can be used. So hopefully, using the numbers, he can get some work done. But the Hounds are going to try and probe, and more are coming in from the other side. So there is going to be a big skirmish battle here going on. They want to eke out an advantage, because whichever faction ends up with a bunch of horsemen left is going to have a distinct advantage here. But look at this. Terror is starting to hit, so the Frostworm is diving in to try and deal with these Norscan Warhounds. If they can get rid of them, it's going to be a lot harder to chase down this cavalry. And also, Frostworm has been taking a lot of the hits, which isn't great for the Frostworm, but it's great for the cavalry in this cavalry engagement. And more units are starting to probe on the edges. So, Felkon, he's sort of keeping high and tight, while Shidoku is actually trying to spread out so he can sort of get the odd surround on things coming from different angles. So it's a very interesting approach. There's stuff that can come to defend very quickly here, but there's things that can catch things out very quickly on the other side. So they're both using, you know, good strategies, but slightly different. But they're making sure they're being clever here. There's a big push on this side, so they're retreating a bit, get a more solid line, so they're not outnumbered during this fight. And here you can see the Soul Crusher is moving forwards a bit, and he will take a lot of damage, but he can take a lot of damage if he gets surrounded here. So now a big surge from the Skin Wolves, but it looks like they're not ready to commit just yet. Neither of them have really managed to eke out an advantage, so none of them want to commit, because they are going to be on pretty even playing field, both being Norsca. So here, a breath attack on the Marauders. I mean, fine, it's good to whittle them down, and you can terrify them away pretty damn quickly. So getting them all a bit injured, it means they'll just terrify and leave immediately, and all the damage from these units can hit what they need to hit. But you can see here, Marauder Horsemen, they're very grouped up, and they're struggling a bit, and now the Frostworm is trying to get involved, but nope, change their mind, last minute. And it's Frostworm versus Frostworm. So, yeah, you'd expect just the one with the health would win, but you never know. There is always going to be some RNG involved, and with all these Marauder Horsemen, we could see anything happen here. So here you can see Throg is fighting Wulfric. That's kind of bad for Wulfric, you know. But Glittering Robe giving him mad armor, Fight or Die giving him mad melee attack. So buffs all around for people here, and it's actually an overcast Glittering Robe, so it's hit a bunch of units here, which is really cool. Suddenly these Skin Wolves, I think, have more armor than armored Skin Wolves, so this is brilliant. This is really textbook. So these Skin Wolves, Plague of Rust, giving them 0 armor, and the other ones have a ton of armor, because there's no armor piercing on the Skin Wolves, not really. I mean, they have some, but it's just very high weapon strength, so if suddenly they have a ton of armor, and the others don't, they are going to win out so easily here. But they will get bogged down by things like Marauders, and it's not really going to help against just Marauder Horsemen. That it's more about just the amount of fire coming in. You're never going to get a huge amount of damage with them just from one volley. It just adds up pretty quickly. So even with the armor buffs, they will be taking damage over time, and it will whittle them down. Frostworm getting involved over here. Wulfric still just getting chased around by Throg, who is more than a match for him. But here you can see the Soul Crusher is getting dragged down. But he is getting damage done. These Skin Wolves aren't looking their finest. And here, Spirit Leech trying to just whittle down Wulfric. This flank is starting to look pretty grim for Felkon, but he does have the Frostworm in here as support. And where did the other Frostworm go? Did it lose? Did it lose the fight? I don't see its corpse anywhere. No, that's from the breath attack. I don't see its corpse anywhere, so I'm not entirely sure where it went. I totally missed that. Anyway, now you can see Throg is getting hit pretty hard. He's got 100 champions on, lowering his melee defense, and all these Skin Wolves are going to get some really good hits on him. Now, Plague of Rust giving 0 armor, 5 melee defense. These guys can be able to just beat the snot out of him. And now he's been terrified, because Throg is not immune to psychology, because he doesn't actually cause terror, which is very surprising, given the fact he is a gigantic monster. But no, he doesn't cause terror, and that is often overlooked. You think, oh, bring a big monster, it'll cause terror. Not in the case of Throg. And if they don't cause terror, it means they're not immune to terror. Unless, of course, they're immune to psychology, but he isn't that either. So being able to terrify Throg seems a bit mad, but he goes. So, nice little boat attack there, but I mean, Wulfric's having a whale of a time. He's just soaked up so much damage while the rest of his troops can get work done. There's still ammunition over here on both sides, to be honest, but it looks like the Skin Wolves with Glittering Robe are just winning out against the regular Skin Wolves, and that is a beautiful move. Law of Metal, so useful here, and that is army losses. Just given the value of what was left, it was the valuable units that just weren't able to get whittled down. So, absolutely wonderful fight. Just crazy battle. Absolutely insane. So, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was ridiculous. And so this is just one of the battles they had in the finals, but it's a fun one. I had to cast this. It's absolutely hilarious. So, well played to both players here. I think Felkon, just with the Law of Metal, it allowed for a much quicker battle. Because, I mean, that battle didn't last long. Once they got involved, that was basically it. That was basically it. And it was all down to Law of Metal, you know? Just having Skin Wolves that are so much cheaper than, say, Armoured Skin Wolves, which would win out against the regular kind, just being able to give them all that armour and sunder the armour of the others, it just means these guys can get max damage and negate as much damage as possible, so they will always win that matchup. And against anything else, they're still going to do great, because it's a ton of cheap armour piercing, very manoeuvrable, and they can hop on top of things like, what are they called? Famir. They can hop on top of Famir, get nice surrounds on them, they can take them out just with their numbers. They can just get the huge surround and wipe them out one at a time. So if you're going to bring something as manoeuvrable, it was just going to be more Skin Wolves. Otherwise, these guys would have the advantage regardless. So that was super interesting. Great use of Law of Metal. I'm so impressed by that. And Law of Death, brilliant here, because constantly Spirit Leeching all the big monsters, it's great to whittle down their health and sort of just help out, especially with a bunch of Marauder Horsemen helping you out. But it takes time to do that. And Chidoku wasn't given the right amount of time. He just didn't have the time to get that damage in using those spells. It was over before he could use all his Winds of Magic. You know, it's Law of Death, I think, is best in a battle that takes a long time. You know, you really want it to draw out. But Law of Metal, just with the buffs, you can just get those, like, little... You can get the edge over these little engagements, just one at a time, and you can really do some work, and this was great evidence of that. So, it's often weird thinking, like, how do I do a mirror match? It's so peculiar, because you rarely have to bring counters to the things you're countering with that faction, because so few people do mirror matches. It's such a rare occurrence. So, it's a whole new ball game, and I think just playing to the strengths, while also making up for their weaknesses, simply with a good choice of spellcaster, was superb. I loved it. So, yeah, fantastic. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and, yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next one, right? So, have a good one.